We're going to look at our supply chain, and they were having trouble in this case with stockouts, meaning not having the right inventory in stock, and some issues with lead times and suppliers. So let's look at that. Not everybody has seen the quality project. So this is Minitab Workspace. It has all kinds of tools. It's part of the Core Solution Center. So if you've got Minitab Core Solution Center, then you should see you have the Minitab Workspace tools that include process maps, simulations, etc., as well as roadmaps for things like a DMAIC project in your continuous improvement, or QFD, or CDOV if you're doing kind of R&D work. So Workspace comes with these automatic roadmaps. This one happens to be a DMAIC roadmap that I'm using, and in this case I was trying to solve the supplier lead time problem. So if you look at this, you've got the define section. It comes built in with all these tools that fit with what you're doing. In the case of in the measure section, maybe I'm going to do a baseline capability as well as a process map. Analyze, I might do a fishbone. But what's cool is I can also add tools or remove them. So if there's something I don't actually use, that's fine. You can just delete it. You can go and replace any tools in there with any tool you want. There are a lot of tools in here, not just the fishbones. For those of you doing FMEAs, we actually have new AIAG guidelines for that. We have the more traditional design FMEA with the older guidelines. We have, I'll just scroll through here. There's the process FMEA. We have things for preventative maintenance. So a lot of great tools. These tools are all what we call the soft tools for process improvement. And I'll show you what I mean when I go to the navigator. So here I've got a project today. And in my project, it's just telling me I'm just a summary of what's going on. My project is healthy, it's doing well. I'm in the analyze phase. I can go to a project charter. And one of the things I brought up with AI is understanding context. One great way to really think through the context of your problem is through a project charter, and specifically your problem statement, your objectives, right? I want to, by Q4, reduce a percentage of late deliveries from 18% down to 5%. And our customer complaints, I want reduced by at least 50%. And here's the business case for that. This is the context that we need basically to use generative AI. It's helping us think through this through a project charter. Now, if this isn't the exact form your company uses, these are completely customizable as well. But this is what the project charter looks like coming out of the box. A really great way to think about what's going on. Financial data, always important. How is this going to save me money? So I can tell my leadership that, my team members, etc. I'm going to skip down to the define phase. I'm ready to define my project, and I'm going to do that through a CT tree. So I want to find what's critical to reducing late deliveries. Now, one thing I can do, all I have is my call to action here. What's critical to reducing late deliveries? One of the things that brainstorming is really nice with integrates with AI well is just ideas, right? So I can use generative AI to actually brainstorm ideas. And some of them, might be great, some of them not so great, but let's see what happens. So I'm going to tell the AI, I'm just going to copy and paste because it takes me a while to type, but I'm going to tell the AI, I'm a supplier to other manufacturers. You need to reduce the percentage of late deliveries by identifying and eliminating the top 3 root causes of late shipments. Brainstorm what these root causes are. So, and I might have copied and pasted part of that from my project charter. Let's generate that. And what it will do is it's going to give us some ideas around what could be causing these late deliveries. And, as I look at them, hey, this kind of makes sense, right? I'm looking at things like, and I'm going to actually turn on my pan window tool to kind of move through here. Supply chain bottlenecks, production scheduling, transportation, inventory shortages, quality control issues. So these could all be contributing to my late deliveries. I'm kind of curious what it's thinking when it talks about quality control issues. I'm going to do the same thing again, use generative AI, but this time instead of a prompt, I'm going to use the quick generate and give it a few seconds and we'll see what that AI is thinking about. Well, is it related to customer feedback integration, real-time inspection data that's slowing us down, supplier quality, process variation? So all some things I might want to look at. Something related to defect rate tracking, and I can dig in and get a little more if I want. Now, what you'll find is, you won't get everything. You can add your own things to the list over here and drag and drop them into your brainstorming tool. You can delete things that don't make sense. So, I don't know that maybe this is something that I feel doesn't make sense. I can just remove it. So I can delete that piece of the tree and add something else. The supplier themselves, who the supplier is. Maybe there's things related to that. And I can add that to my brainstorming, right? So we've added something to my brainstorm list and I can drag and drop it over into my CT tree. The other thing you can do with these brainstorming tools is, okay, you know what? I don't actually like this critical to reduce late deliveries in this form. I want to put it more in mind map form. Oops, I can do that. I interrupted the AI. That's why it didn't show. Or I can put it in right tree form. So I can do all kinds of cool things. Now, I showed you this within a workspace roadmap, right? And I'll go on and do some other things within this roadmap. But this same brainstorming tool is also available, even if you don't have access to Workspace, it is our brainstorm. It's the same tool available up here. That same CT tree with the same generative AI is available to everybody that just has a Minitab license. So go play with it. It is really a fun tool to play with and available to you with just a Minitab license. So going back into my workspace file though, I can see that I have things like a process map. One thing I can do with these process maps in Minitab Workspace is very easy to use, by the way. I love the process map. Can add things quickly to my process just by pressing these steps inside of process maps. So this is the process around what happens when somebody is ordering something, right? I can, it goes through legal contracts, it gets, picked or it doesn't, it's shipped or not, etc. So this is my full process. But as I look at steps in the process, so when they go to pick the order, for example, some things that affect whether I'll be successful are, is the product available? Do I have delays? Once I have added the data like that, input and output variables to my process map, one thing that Minitab Workspace does automatically is it uses any data you have inputted earlier to be able to populate any forms. So for example, I want to do a C&E matrix that basically is going to help me keep track of the status of all my different variables. I can just tell it, I've already set those variables in my process map. Go ahead and throw them into my C&E matrix. And now, I can go weight them, etc. But my whole goal will be going through all these potential inputs and outputs and either making them critical or eliminating them. But I saved the step of having to fill out this form because I already added inputs and outputs to my process map. So the goal with Minitab Workspace is really reducing the work involved in terms of, what we typically do in a process improvement project with all these built-in forms and tools that share data back and forth.